we're going to talk about the Twiceborn EP that just came out last Friday from when you're hearing this. The EP is called Mythos. We knew, I mean, come on, you guys watched the show. We knew that this was all going to be dripping with esotericism and mysticism and, you know, all that cool stuff or whatever. But really early on, we had, I think it was because, like, you know, the name was called Twiceborn. Really the first song that we did, the first song that we made, which is the first song on the EP that you guys may have heard. It's called Amethystos. And at that point, I didn't know that we were going to make an entire EP about different gods from different mythologies, which, by the way, that is the theme of the album. It's kind of a concept EP. Every song is about a different god from a different mythology. But at first, it was just like, oh, we're called Twiceborn. Let's make a song about Dionysus.
Right.
That'd be cool.
The twice-born son of Zeus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where the name comes from. Twiceborn is a title that was given to Dionysus because he was like born prematurely because his mother was killed by the Titans, I believe.
I think so.
And Zeus, you know, who is Dionysus' father, Zeus wanted him to survive, so he cut open his own thigh, Zeus did, and sewed Dionysus into it so that he could continue to grow. And then when he came out, he was like twice born, you know? He was born twice. But anyway, we wanted to make a cool song about Dionysus. So I did some research about mythology, different stories about Dionysus and whatever. And I found this one super, super interesting one about a woman named Amethystos. And obviously, that caught my eye immediately because Amethystos.
Crystal reference!
Yeah!
We haven't made one in like 50 episodes.
Yeah, we're bringing the crystal references
They're back, baby!
Yes, for this episode and this episode only. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, we had been doing the podcast, and I was like, you know, we'd been talking about crystals and all this stuff, and we'd been going to buy crystals and whatever. And I was like, oh my God, there's a story about crystals with Dionysus. So that's what the song is actually about. What we're going to do for the rest of the episode is we're going to talk about each song and kind of the mythology behind each song, the symbolism behind each song, and maybe give you some little fun facts or whatever. So, Amethystos. It is the story of how the crystal amethyst came about in Greek mythology. And essentially, the story is there was this like acolyte or worshiper of the goddess Artemis, and her name was Amethystos. And if you don't know about the Greek god Artemis, one of her big like kind of champion traits or whatever is like celibacy, is like abstinence. You know, it's kind of like keeping your power to yourself, you know, and through doing that. And so in the myth, this acolyte, this Amethystos, she worships Artemis, and she respects that about Artemis, that she abstains from, you know, her desires or whatever. She's celibate. So she wants to emulate that. She wants to be like Artemis. So in the myth, she's traveling through the woods, and she's going to make an offering at an altar of Artemis. And on the road to the altar, Dionysus comes down from the heavens, and he's basically like, yo, what up? You're hot. You want to give me a baby? And she's like, no, I'm good on that. Like, get away from me. Because if you don't know about Dionysus, one of the things he is the god of is wine. He actually created wine in Greek myth. So he's always drunk.
Fun fact real quick.
Yeah.
We did talk about this on our Orphism episode. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's just called Orphism, way back. But the reason that the ancient Greeks called the crystal amethyst was because I believe the word amethystos meant purple, right? And the wine at the time was traditionally from purple grapes, so it was purple, and they Dionysus, purple wine.
Well, that factors into the story.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
it's also in the lyrics too. You guys can read the lyrics. Each song is like an actual myth from one of these characters for the most part.
Yeah. There's one exception there.
Yeah.
We created a myth.
Yeah, we did. We did. But that comes into play. So anyway, she's going to make this offering. Dionysus comes down. He's all drunk. He's like trying to, he's like, I want to have a baby with you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And she's like, I'm good on that. I worship the goddess of the half moon, who is Artemis. And so whatever. This infuriates Dionysus because he's got a big god ego. Like, what, you don't like me? Whatever. And he tries to kill her. He's like, you're going to regret that. He literally sends like tigers to kill her, and like he makes like the vines around her, like
he's tricked.
Yeah, he tries to kill her. She's running from him. She's trying to run away and get away and whatever. And as she's running and he's chasing, she prays to Artemis, like, save me. I can't, like, I don't want him to take this from me. I've been doing this for you. I've been like empowering myself in worship of you. Don't let him do this, to me, whatever. And Artemis, in an effort to save, because I think, this is just speculation, Artemis, I feel like she was kind of like, I can't take Dionysus. I don't think I could take him. He's crazy powerful, which is true. He's extremely powerful. So in an effort to save Amethystos's purity, she turns Amethystos into a quartz statue. She's like, he can't get you if you're a giant crystal. She turns Amethystos into a quartz statue.
You're saved.
Yeah, no, and also dead.
You lost your life though, but
your
cool.
purity.
So how did the purple come into play?
This is how. So when that happened, Artemis kind of like scolded Dionysus and was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you do this? Like she was trying to remain pure in worship of me. Like, why would you try to take that away? Blah, 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 all this stuff. And he was completely racked with guilt. It was like one of the first moments that Dionysus in Greek myth, like, kind of has a heart. It's where he starts, this story is kind of where he starts to go from like just this drunken, rageful god into somebody who is more compassionate and whatever. So he was racked with grief because he's like, I did this. This is my fault. And so he took his flask off of his hip and he poured it on the statue and it turned purple.
So I looked it up. The word amethystos, translated from Greek from methisko, meaning intoxicate. So that's why they named the crystal, the ancient Greeks named it amethyst, because it's intoxicate, but it's the wine, the purple wine of Dionysus. And worshippers of Dionysus would hold amethyst. So the name comes from a Dionysian reference.
Yeah.
I had it backwards. It doesn't mean purple.
That's sick. I mean, I didn't know that specific part, but yeah, so that was the story. That's the story of Amethystos. And after we made Amethystos, then we were like, yo, what if every song on the EP is like a different god from a different mythology? And let's get real weird and esoteric with it.
Yeah.
Let's make the title of every song the Greek name for a crystal. Let's follow the pattern. Let's make a pattern here. If we're going to call this one Amethystos, let's keep doing it.
Before we move on to the next song, I do want to say for the name, to me personally, the name Twiceborn is 3 layers. Which one of those layers is kind of undone? It's more than just a reference to Dionysus, but if you study, like the Orphic interpretation of Dionysus, which is not just I really want to reference the Orphism episode here because it explains a lot of Dionysus and the symbolism behind it and what it actually meant to the ancient Greeks. And you had 2 versions of that. You had the Hellenistic mainstream Greek religion where, like what we're talking about here, they had these myths and stories that weren't actually true. They were just metaphors.
Yeah.
But then you had the Orphics, which were a secret society of enlightened Greek thinkers who understood the true meaning of these mysteries as esoteric metaphors. And Dionysus was more like a Christ-like figure, and their version of Dionysus was slightly different, and it was about reincarnation. Because Dionysus is struck down by the Titans or something like
Yeah.
that. And then we talk about it in that episode, but they take the ashes of the Titans and they reincarnate Dionysus. And he's twice born again as Zagreus, remember? So to me, the name Twice Born also is a reference to reincarnation, because I believe, I believe reincarnation is the answer. It's the great truth that people need to know to be able to function at a minimal level spiritually. And then the third thing is we were a duo.
Yeah.
But that is now undone.
Which we're happy about.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. But that was the other layer, like Twice Born. There's two of us.
You know,
Not anymore.
you know what else is funny? Like, we had been joking around about, like, dude, we should make another band with Jeremy and call it Trismegistus.
Yeah.
Because there's three of us.
Yeah,
you know.
but it's fine.
That was our
It-
group chat for a hot minute.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was. And
yeah.
now it's Twice Born.
But it doesn't matter, you know.
Exactly. Who
It's
cares?
cool. It's cool. We can have a song
It's
called
even
Trismegistus.
cooler now because Twice Born has two meanings.
Yeah.
Get it?
And it's still two people making the music.
Right.
With a vocalist.
With the vocalist coming in and gracing us with his spice.
he's
Salt Bae.
he's Orpheus, bro. He's the one like telling the poems.
Well, it's like that band was born twice.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, and a little comment to the thing that you were saying about Zagreus. There is a line in Amethystos you guys should look out for if you listen to
Zagreus.
it. Well, it's Nonnus calls me Zagreus, Diodorus calls me Sabazius, because that was another name. And then the third one is, there are those who call me Bacchus, because the Romans called him Bacchus, called Dionysus Bacchus. And then it says, but you may call me Dionysus. And
Yeah.
then that's like the breakdown, bum, 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 you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Amethystos. The second one that we released, and which is also the second one on the album. It was the first song we released, but it's the second song on the album, Kovalinis. A lot of people thought it was about Thor.
Yeah. And we just let them.
Yeah, who cares? They thought it was about Thor because there's all these like, you know, the lightning. It talks about like storms and lightning and
Kind of led him to it.
I honestly, yeah, a little bit. And I kind of had a thought like I kind of want them to think that it's Thor, because then if they dig just a little deeper and say like, well, what about these lines? What are these lines talking about? It would kind of send them down a rabbit hole where they'd be like, maybe it's
Plus,
about
bro, there's Japanese symbols on the cover.
Right. Yeah. But so Kovalinis, which is the Greek word for kovalite, which is so cool because it's a crystal that is formed during lightning storms, which is why we chose that one. That is actually about the Japanese thunder god Raijin, which shout out Naruto.
Shout out
Raijin.
Minato.
Minato,
The
yeah.
fourth Hokage.
Shout out Minato.
Hey, look, Naruto learned the flying
That's
Raijin.
true, he did.
He learned
He
the
did
flying
learn flying
Raijin attack.
Raijin.
He did. I don't remember who he did it on. It might have been Sasuke. But anyway, this is not the Naruto episode, which will happen someday.
It should, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
It should happen. And then, of course, down the line, we got to do a One Piece episode with Jeremy. Anyway, so Raijin. This is the story of Kovalinis. This is the story that I chose from Raijin's mythology. The story, it takes place in like feudal Japan, feudal Japanese kind of times, on the island of Tsushima, which Ghost of Tsushima. That game is sick.
Amazing game.
Yeah. Have you played it?
No,
Oh, bro.
I didn't have a PlayStation.
I never. Is it not on PC?
I think it is now.
I never finished it, but
It's amazing.
I've been dying to finish it because it is really.
I hear it's beautiful.
It is.
Oh, bro! You
Captivating.
can sit down in the grass and like play a flute and like say haikus. You can like it's so.
You just like sit in hot springs. And
It's so cool.
I want to do that in
amazing.
real life, though.
Yeah, that fast.
that was
yeah,
the
fast.
last PS4 exclusive. The last official
Shoot.
PS4 title. And then PS5 came out.
Yeah.
Oh damn!
It's kind of legendary.
But yeah, so
legendary.
it takes place on the island of Tsushima, and the cool thing is this one is an actual like real life story that kind of Japan wrote a mythology around. So in the I want to say 1400s or so, it was around that time. I could be wrong on the time frame, but Tsushima was being attacked by Mongols, by Mongol soldiers. Like fleets of ships. It happened twice within like a 2 or 3 year span. They were attacked twice. Both times that they were attacked, the ships never even reached the island because they were destroyed by like record-breaking tsunamis, like unbelievably huge tsunamis that just absolutely eviscerated all of the ships. And so the way that Japanese mythology or Japanese myth explains that is it's because of the thunder god Raijin. He saved them, according to them.
That is called Shinto.
Shinto.
That's their myth system.
Oh,
Their
cool.
religious myth system.
Right.
Shinto.
So I looked into the myth of Raijin, and I was reading about it, and there's this cool character called like the God Breaker or the God Killer or something to that effect, who essentially locked Raijin in a prison for like hundreds of years, like a really, really long extended time. But then when the Mongols came to attack, they were like, according to myth, they were like, well, shit, what are we going to do about this? They completely outnumber us. How are we going to do this? And they let Raijin out, which is why the lyric "No chain can hold me." That's why it's in the song. No chain can, because he was chained and whatever. And, you know, he basically comes out of his prison. He sees that there's fleets of ships coming to attack the island that worships him, because they have statues of Raijin. They worship Raijin. And he's like, not on my watch. He's like, you're not about to come up here. And that's why that line is, what was the line about, like, sheep? Oh, try to take the sheep from my pulpit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's basically, he was like, that was offensive to him. Like, oh, you're going to come here and try to take the people that worship me. Let's groove. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, let's go.
So
like,
let's just slightly shift gears for a second. So we haven't even talked about like what's our sound like. So like, the reason we released Covellini's first was because it's groovy, right?
Yeah.
It's upbeat. It's, you know, got the Victor Wooten sample in there that makes people want to dance.
Yeah.
It's like, it's different from most metal.
Yeah. I was literally scrolling through TikTok, and I saw a video of Victor Wooten. He's like, you don't dance because the key, you dance because you dance to the groove. And I was like, I'm putting that in a song. and so that's where that part came from. But yeah, we talked a lot about like, what's the first song we're going to release? We were thinking about Amethystos, but we were like, I don't know, whatever. But we were ultimately like, this is just a jam. Like, this is just such a jam.
It's not too heavy.
It's pretty heavy.
It is, but it's not like too heavy where you know, more people I feel like could get into it.
Yeah, we kind of looked at it as one of our like it's very flashy and exciting.
Yeah.
And we were like,
it's groovy.
Yeah, we were basically just so into it that's what we wanted to release first, was that. So yeah, I mean, that's the story of Covellini's. It's about Raijin. It's not about Thor. But you know, good guess, Hardcore Keem. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Hardcore.
Now this one's really exciting because this was where Jeremy came in. The next track on the EP was Katrini, which is about that one's super obvious because it says the Allfather in the title.
The Allfather.
It says Ragnarok and Gungnir and
that the lyrics,
Jotun.
Exactly, the Jotun's fall. Yeah, that one was like very straightforward. But yeah, we and the reason it's called Katrini, which by the way, that's the Greek word for citrine, which is a crystal that's associated with the worship of Odin. It's
also one of my very favorite crystals, and I don't always wear crystal bracelets anymore lately because I have so many around me, but I wear a citrine bracelet when I choose to wear crystals. It's the crystal of abundance, positivity.
Oh, another
wealth.
Interesting little behind the scenes fact about Katrini is the week, it might have even been like the day before or something, but the week that we released Katrini, I literally found in my step grandmother's backyard, I found a raw citrine.
Wow, I remember that.
I looked it up. I cross-referenced all sorts of things. I looked at like what crystals are native to specifically like the Boone, Asheville area, you know, and citrine was one of the main ones because I was like, I don't know what it is. It could be anything. But I did probably an hour straight of just like finding out what it is, and it was citrine, dude.
What a great find.
I know. The week that the Citrine song comes out.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It was weird. I called you and I was like, bro, what? This is crazy.
So that song, I'm gonna switch gears before we get into like the myth of it, because it is straightforward. I want to talk about Jeremy's involvement with that song. So we had already like released Covellini's by the time this conversation with Jeremy even being a feature in the first place was happening, and at this point we had pretty much all of our songs recorded musically. Like, we did vocals last.
We had
for
demos.
Everything. We had demos
of every song
to work with, like pretty fleshed out demos.
Yeah.
And like I think at this point all the drums. Yeah, we finished recording drums in January.
Yeah.
So like at this point all the drums were recorded, and we were talking about it. What song do we want to put Jeremy on? I think he'd be in my head. I'm like, I think he'd be great on Oceanos, which happened anyway. And I thought about it. We knew we were going to release Katrini next. I was like, bro, dude, like Jeremy can do that filthy thing, that scream, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
That
The
gobbler.
snarl.
Yeah, the snarl.
The
The
Lorna
snarl.
Shore
Yes.
snarl thing.
Jeremy has a very like Lorna Shore kind of style, which is like
Shout out Will
thank
Ramos.
God. Yes, Lorna Shore is one of those. I don't mess with like their low key like really dark vibes.
Yeah.
But musically,
Yeah.
they are peak.
Filthy.
They're filthy.
Yeah,
they are
they're filthy.
amazing. I
Yeah.
don't do what you will with that. But yeah, Jeremy kind of has a Lorna Shore vibe in my opinion. And I was like, dude, at
Thanks.
the end of the Ragnarok part of Katrini, that would be perfect to introduce Jeremy, And it's just so chaotic and Ragnarok is happening, and I've always kind of had this feeling. Jeremy has made comments to me throughout us just, being so close and talking every day. He's always made comments to me. I feel like my archetype is the sage that sits in the wilderness and kind of like is on his own, but then when he comes out, he's ready to pop.
Yeah.
And that's Odin.
Well, dude, when we were talking about what song to put you on, I was like, when I look at Jeremy, I just feel Odin's presence.
Yeah,
like I just feel like
You're
you're
hyping me up right now.
well, really, that's what I told him. I was like, he just like seems like Odin to me.
That's cool.
And so we did it. So what was your feeling about doing it when we first mentioned like, yo, we want to have you on a song, when we want to do it? Like, what was going through your head?
Well, at first I was like obviously on board, and like I was on board, but I was also apprehensive because I've never done that in front of anyone ever, just in like my car for countless hours.
Yeah.
And I don't even hear it because it's drowned out by loud music and the windows down, so I had no basis to judge myself on.
Yeah.
So it was like just a good opportunity to try something new and, maybe learn something about myself.
Yeah.
And try and just be creative in a different respect than I have been my whole life. So I just jumped on the opportunity for sure, but definitely was nervous. Like 100%.
I love that though. Like you're like, I just want to try something new. And like you've always loved metal music and you've always made comments about how you want to try to, do something with it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So where were your nerves like 1 to 10?
Dude, they were pretty high.
Really?
I mean,
It didn't show.
I have a great mask. I put on a mask very well,
Damn.
but I was pretty nervous about it. I'd say like for me, what's a 10? Is that like Panic Attack?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't at a 10. I was probably at a solid 6.
Okay.
And that's high
pretty
for me.
nervous.
Yeah, like I've never had a full blown panic attack before,
Sure,
but I was pretty freaking nervous.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it go away that day or was it?
No.
Yeah.
It went away. Like it really went away after the second song.
I had a similar feeling when we were recording Amethystos because that's the first song that I ever recorded live drums on. And I remember when we recorded that, it took us like 4 hours of me trying to figure out what to do, what's right. And I still don't know if I still have that feeling of self-doubt or whatever.
You
because
gotta quit that.
I know, but
You
like
popped off.
But in that moment, I remember it was kind of major for me because you said you're awakening. Nick's been playing music in front of people your whole life.
Pretty much.
I haven't. Jeremy had. I played at church, at little gospel music, little basic beats.
I turn pale when people start looking at me.
Yeah. So like, it's a little harder for us to kind of like come out with that, and so
Yeah.
like I had a similar feeling recording Amethystos the first time. It's nerve wracking. It's new.
Yeah, it's definitely nerve wracking. But having people saying like, "Hey, that was sick," like, "Dang, that was dope."
Oh, dude.
Just simple, just that simple will be good enough for me to keep going.
Yeah, I always,
Reinforcement.
anytime I work with anybody recording music, it's like literally only positive vibes. Like only positive vibes. And if you need to retake a line or something, I'll let you know. But like, I'm not gonna be like, nah, that was trash. Let's do it again. I'm gonna be like, yo, you sound so sick. Maybe
fun.
maybe let's try and spin it this way a little bit.
Every time we record everything, it's fun. It doesn't matter what it is.
Why? You know why that's so important is because music is a psychic medium. We talk about this all the time. And the way to really unlock that, in my opinion, is you have to be in like a state of joy and glee and like really fully
Comfort and peace.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Your music's definitely
good
gonna reflect
vibes.
your mood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Good vibes.
So yeah, from the first take, everybody in the room, Ryan, me, Warren, we were all like, our jaw was on the floor when Jeremy did his first take. We were like,
Yeah, because
oh,
Warren went first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
right.
recorded a different song.
And I walked
Yeah.
in the closet and I just had to put I'm pretty sure I put a hood on. I don't know.
You
if I
did. You had a hood
Yeah.
on.
I just had to hide
Hey,
in the closet.
hey, man. We were looking at each other like, whoa.
I had chills.
Found a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, it was so sick. And from that point, I immediately was like, Jeremy need to be in the band for real.
Well, I'm down.
I'm glad you loved it. I'm glad you really enjoyed doing it. And, you know, the fact that you were nervous the entire way through your first time and you still delivered such a sick performance is kind of mind-blowing. So I'm so stoked that you decided to give it a shot because it's hard to like come out of your comfort zone, try something new in front of a bunch of people. Like I've literally never done this before. I get
Let
why you
alone
were-
in front of people recorded
Right.
for other people to hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm still sometimes in disbelief when I hear it.
that's what
That's me.
that's what I was gonna ask. So
Yes.
when you heard the song back after it was done, what was going through your head?
It wasn't. You know how whenever you see a really really pretty woman, and you have to do the double take. that was. I was
Yes.
like, God dang, that's me. Like holy, I can find myself in the gym like doing bicep curls to it and just really get into it.
like that's me,
Like
dude.
dang, I can keep doing this. That's pretty cool.
That's so sick.
That's pretty cool.
I love that.
So I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
dude! Are you
it's
kidding
dope.
me? You blessed our band with your presence, and like, it almost feels like it was kind of a missing piece.
Yeah,
I-
it does.
stop.
It does
No,
now. It
I-
does now.
I really do feel like
Yeah.
that.
Showering me with affection.
What is this? I honestly fully actually feel, I'm not just saying that, like, because we've been so intimately making and hearing this music for over a year, and now that you're on it, it's like it really
It has more life.
it has more life. Yeah, it feels complete now. So I'm so glad that you decided to do it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because, like I said earlier, it's definitely something I can do and explore more about myself that I've never had the opportunity. I've had the opportunity. Mom tried her hardest to get me in piano and other things.
Yeah.
I just couldn't sit still long enough to do it. But fortunately, I don't have to sit still.
You
To
don't.
scream and just howl on a mic.
Yeah,
so.
you can move all around. That's a cool
like,
thing.
I just have energy. I want to get it out, you know? And like that is a good way to do it.
Yeah, it feels kind of perfect. And as far as like the mythology / symbology on this song, it's actually super simple. It's literally just the story of Ragnarok. It's from the perspective of Odin, and you know he has all this weight on his shoulders of like he's the god of gods, he's the All Father. You know, he feels this burden of like of taking care of his people and all this stuff, but also he's very selfishly like he doesn't want it all to go away because he feels like he hasn't figured everything out yet. You know, he's like you said, he's a sage. He's on this quest for infinite knowledge.
It's like why he gave up his eye. He wants that knowledge of the future and the prophecies, and he's trying to figure out if he can stop Ragnarok. But
Yeah, that's the first line.
that's the moral of the story. You can't stop destiny.
Exactly. That's the moral of that song. The first line is eye for an eye for infinite knowledge. You know, he gave his eye for infinite knowledge, and that infinite knowledge showed him like you gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. you know. Ragnarok is coming and there's nothing you could do to stop it. So it talks about him exploring the world and reading all this esoteric mystical stuff and studying all these, you know, mystery traditions and stuff to try to find a way to stop it. And he thinks he's getting somewhere, and then that last breakdown hits and it's like it was all for nothing. You're dead. Like that's it. You can't escape it.
Feels bad.
It feels bad. GG, son. Yeah.